I'm sorry. I was cancelled.
It happened yesterday also. So after 40 minutes.
Okay. I was reading that on my screen, but I don't believe it. So, okay. And Ondina is
I
out.
hope Ondina will
Ondina?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to.
Yeah, she's coming.
Okay.
Good.
So Samuel, I have some kind. Are you listened?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have epistemological question to you. How does scientists see your work in informal and creative publication? How do you manage with the question of validity in science? How can you show that your edited work is valid to scientists?
Okay. So this epistemologic term, actually if you call it, it's a good expression, is quite new for me. I've been publishing fanzine, but mostly public music punk fanzine for 30 years, but science is something new. It's new at the international level. For example, it has emerged in the USA, on UK, and in the USA, it was an answer to the defying movement against science. Let's characterize with Trump, fake news, fake science, no climate change, etc., etc. So the scientists there were thinking, okay, so people are looking at us like we are evil because we are publishing in Nature, Science, big reviews, and they don't understand and they are science reluctant. How can we do to touch these people who are science reluctant? And they thought, maybe if we use a mundane media, mundane support, they will be interested. So they started to publish science-zine, and they were like punkzine, photocopied and very small format with drawing, unwritten, etc. But it was real science, real, of course, but so this is another form of mediation. Of course, I'm still publishing in a journal. I'm publishing journal for the last 6 years. For example, I do not review papers for Elsevier, Taylor and Francis. I mean the big industry of academic publishing. I just review papers for science societies, Société Savante. So. Not industrial, but I'm still sending papers, submitting papers to peer journal that are published by academic, science societies. But I try to avoid. Sometimes I can't. For example, when I'm publishing a paper with my PhD student, of course he wants to publish in the top journal, so I can't tell him no, you can't because I don't want. He has to because he needs to. But for myself, I avoid this for the last 5 years now. Of course, when your career is evaluated, your colleague will say, okay, this is not good because you're not publishing anymore in top journal. But it's a risk, of course, but I don't mind. I prefer to do that.
Okay, it's already an alternative way to do things, isn't it? And you have touching a point that is very important for me. It's how can we use these editions to catch the public, general public, because it's important to do that. It's a risk because I've said before, we are now at a time of misinformation and negationism, and science is on stage of all that, and it's a difficult time indeed. Well, I don't know if you have more questions to Samuel, but I don't know, Anna.
For instance, I would like to add that cultural studies in Portugal are quite recent. And for instance, Kismif in University of Porto started some, I don't know when, maybe
2014.
2014?
2014, okay.
Yeah.
So it's recent, if we,
Yeah.
and
But it's recent, but it was quite a pioneer, even at international level. I mean,
Yes.
a big conference about
Yes.
punk. It's not only punk, but so even in UK or USA, there was no big conference such as the Kismet at the time.
Yes, and Kismif is a way, for instance, to provide information to mainstream publics or people, academic people as well, so all kind of audiences. But we have always this thing. And Susanna asked, if I remember, asked, how can academic researchers see notice, see the work of musicians, artists, isn't it? What is the importance of this work? Because this intellectual work is maybe the worst work to be paid, to be acknowledged by everyone. And that's why I said that Kismif is important, and I hope there are more academic platform to show the work that artists, alternative independent artists are doing. Anna, I don't know if you want to say anything more about this. And
yes, I think the common aspect of what we are talking about, or one of them, is the question of spread the word and the dissemination, and what kind of platforms can we use against the dominant academical journals in scientific fields, or for example, if we go to music, the dominant labels, for example. I think it is one of the most important. It's a basic thing to do something in a do-it-yourself way. How can I share? How can I show what I'm doing, even if it's a scientific paper, even if it's music, even if it's another artist object.
Anna, you say at least in your abstract, the DIY phenomena on the modern technologies killed the independent bands.
Yes, in this way,
yeah.
in this way, what we see is when we are talking about professional careers in music, and we have music now, we are going to talk about music. Only the mainstream singers or bands reach the top. There are some.
It's not new. The music market was always like this, with top of
yes.
the
Yes, and first it was we